Democratic National Committee Chair Tom Perez has announced his nominations for the 2020 DNC committees.
And he is now being accused by some of working to rig the nominating contest once again. Joining us via Skype to weigh in on all of this is Nomiki Konst. She's host of the Nomiki Show. She previously ran for New York City Public Advocate. Great friend of mine, great friend of the show. Great to see you, Nomi.
Nice to see you guys this morning.
Absolutely.
Could you just start with what these committees are? What are these nominations? Why does this matter?
So in the past, most of these committees, whether it's for the convention or just, throughout the DNC, because there are committees that exist throughout the year that deal with, DNC related activities. Usually they don't actually matter much. The DNC, I hate to pull back the curtain here, has been almost entirely ceremonial and served at the disposal of if a Democrat was in the presidency, the president. And it has been for the last, 15, 20 years, a presidential committee. And of course, that's why we weren't able to invest in state parties and win local elections and how we, lost 1,200 seats in 8 years. These committees for the convention are a little bit different, especially as we go into a possibly contested convention or a convention in which all signs are pointing to Bernie Sanders being the nominee. The committees are supposed to be democratically chosen. I was a member of the Unity Reform Commission. We spent almost 2 years working through the rules of the Democratic Party to make it more transparent, more democratic, more fair, based on what happened in 2016. But at the end of the day, Sagar, you might like this, our system is a little bit more libertarian than other countries around the world. And the Democratic Party is a corporation. And they really have no obligation to exercise transparency or democracy. The chair, at the end of the day, can interpret the rules how he wants, do whatever he wants, and I don't even want to get down to 2017 how he was elected, because that's controversial as well.
Right. So, Nomiki, let's break this down just into the individual actors. I saw that people like Barney Frank are going to be there. And I think what you're really laying out is, everyone broke a convention. Everyone says, it's never going to happen. It might happen. But it's a very real possibility with Michael Bloomberg essentially buying so much of his position within this race. Could you lay out about how susceptible maybe some of these potential chairs are to moneyed influence like Bloomberg and others?
Well, they are the money and influence. Let's just be very clear. I would say 75% of the appointees, because of course, Tom Perez was like, I'll throw in a few union leaders so people don't criticize me. Let me just point out, by looking at this list of who is appointed to these committees, again, most of these people are not elected DNC members. They're all appointed DNC members, and they're all appointed by Tom Perez. There are elected DNC members that are delegates to the party, not the convention, that are there doing their work. And Tom Perez decided he was going to pick his people. And on that list, there's only one person that supported Bernie. And that's a very large list. And that's Larry Cohen, who was the co-chair for Bernie Sanders in 2016 and was the vice chair of the Unity Reform Commission. So when you look at this list, I would say 75% of them are consultants, are lobbyists. They have, some of them are elected officials, former elected officials. But for the most part, these are the moneyed interests that are influencing the party, that are backing certain candidates because their clients pay them to do so that the Democratic Party remains this neoliberal, albeit conservative party. And I'm talking about consultants for weapons manufacturers. I'm talking about consultants who represent foreign interests that are not our interests. I'm talking about consultants that want to privatize everything, including Social Security. These are the people who are not only sitting on the DNC regularly on the Rules Committee, interpreting the rules of the party, not elected to be on the DNC, but now they are there to determine how the convention will roll out. And they could change rules last minute. I've heard a lot of different ideas from DNC members. I'm not ready to confirm them yet because it does require some research. But at the end of the day, when you look at the people who are on these committees, I'll note one thing. When you look at credentials, there's quite a few people from Maryland. And if you recall, Tom Perez was from, most recently from Maryland. And there's been rumors that he wants to run for governor of Maryland. He wanted to run a couple of years ago. So, there's a little bit of politics happening here.
Oh, wow. Imagine that. I mean, there are also, look, the thing when I looked at this list, a couple things came to mind. First of all, before Sanders came on the scene and basically said, we don't have to do politics this way, this nobody would have batted an eyelash at this. This was business as usual, perfectly normal. All these people were lobbyists and representing this industry and that industry, and surrogates for Clintonites and Obamites and surrogates for different candidates. Totally normal. So that's one thing. And the other thing is, just looking down the list, it was like, oh, I see what these people all have in common. They all hate Bernie Sanders, with the exception of Larry Cohen.
And a couple more, to be fair. And what's, for those who aren't familiar with the DNC, the rules of the DNC and the makeup of the DNC, like most Americans, the DNC actually has a divide, and it's not really related to Bernie Sanders. It existed before Bernie Sanders ran, where you had a group of DNC members who wanted reform, may have not been willing to step up and speak out for years, or if they did, they were silenced or kicked off the DNC in some, way or form. That's happened quite a bit. So you have a DNC that has been ready for reform. And when the election between Tom Perez and Keith Ellison took place in 2017, you saw that. You saw people who did not support Bernie Sanders supporting Keith Ellison, talking about bringing the money back to the states because Trump scared them. They were sick of these lobbyists coming in and being appointed, not doing the work. Some don't even live in the areas that they're supposedly representing. So there is a divide in the party, and I think Tom Perez, frankly, I don't know how clueless he is or how much he doesn't care about what people think. Because if he does want to run for governor, if this convention turns out to be the consultants' convention, it's not just going to be the Bernie activists that are upset. He's going to have an unruly DNC. He's going to have a lot of bad press, and good luck running for governor.
Yeah. Right. Nomi, two things quickly I want to mention. First of all, I'm going to see you tonight at Harvard. Aren't we fancy, for a panel on alternative media and movement politics? Very excited about that. But second of all, you have a new show. Tell us about it. How can we watch it? What is the show all about?
Thank you so much. So the show is called, cleverly, The Nomiki Show. My mom keeps saying, she had all these ideas for show names, and then she said, maybe you could just teach people how to say your name properly. So it's The Nomiki Show. It's on all the places you can find podcasts. We're putting it up on YouTube. But if you go to patreon.com /The Nomiki Show, you can become a patron, and that's where you're going to get exclusive clips, special interviews. Today, just so you guys know, I'm going to do a deep analysis of what happened at the DNC, so you got a teaser here. I will be reaching out to people in the DNC who are willing to step up and speak, which is not common, but I will be interviewing them. And the idea of the show is to essentially break down how the establishment works and give you guys tools, a toolkit for how to operate in this environment. We won't be doing as much breaking news. It's going to be more about, what we're going into in 2020, as we saw in 2016, what you should be aware of, what their tricks are. And then we'll be doing some deeper dives and highlighting some extraordinary candidates that may not be getting the attention that they deserve.
Yeah. Well, you could not be launching at a more perfect moment. Very excited for you. Congratulations. And I know the show is already fabulous and is going to continue to be so. Congratulations.
Everybody go subscribe.
That's right.
Yes,
subscribe.
Yes.
All right, and I will see you tonight. Thank you. Former CDC Director Dr. Tom Frieden is going to explain what you need to know about the coronavirus. That when Rising continues.